So today I'm with April Shipton, a singer and songwriter extraordinaire. Talk about her calling and what she's doing in the music world. It's amazing. Check it out right here, right now. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dan Beesley, and this channel is all about inspiring intentional discipleship, helping you go deeper in your faith and living it out in the world today. And talk about living it out in the world today, I'm here through God's providence. I'm meeting up with April Shipton, who is Christian singer and songwriter, got an amazing story and wants to encourage you in your calling. If you're just a fan of April's or exploring a calling, we're going to just have a chat about how she's got here, stuff that's happened in her life with God, and what she's doing now and what she's doing in the future as well. Amazing stuff happening. So thank you for coming.
Pleasure.
And we'll come to your house.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming.
So how did this start? How does a person, a normal human being, be called by God to do such amazing things, stepping out in faith into singing?
I think it's very different for everyone. And I so believe that everyone has their own purpose and calling, so that's really important. And it might not be singing. In fact, it might not be anything that's public at all. It might be something totally different, and there's nothing particularly glamorous about one calling over another. But in my experience, it was that so I just recently been married, and just thank you very much. That was like 5 years ago. Time flies.
That's good.
It's a while. So yeah, about 5 years ago, and I'd just been through as well a journey of faith of my own, where I experienced healing, and I will share that with you another time. But it was at a point where I was just kind of settling into like my new life and wasn't really sure what God wanted of me. And then suddenly I started hearing these two words everywhere, like books I was reading and magazines and radio, like I was hearing it, conversations with people, TV, what else, like literally everywhere. These two words, talents and passions. And I was like, well, actually, it took me a while to realise. It took me about 3 months, like an embarrassingly long time, to piece this together and realise that God was asking me, like, April, are you using your talents and passions? So I was working at a desk job. I was doing a website and social media and like marketing for a small charity. I loved it. It was great. Really got on with the people, had a great time, did really good work. But it definitely wasn't like what I wanted to do. This means career. It wasn't like what I wanted to do. We'll come back to that. And so I knew that it wasn't. I was good in the job, but I knew it wasn't like my thing. And so I think God was asking me what my thing was and prompting me and poking me to find out. And it's really hard to ask yourself, what am I good at? No one can answer that question, and you put yourself under so much pressure when you try to. So I was going, what are my talents and passions? Well, I don't have any, like everyone says when you ask them that. So I was looking at things I was currently doing that I enjoyed. I did some youth work that I was doing for the church at the time that I was in, which I was loving, and it was like super king to me, and so it's got God written all over it, because you're doing it for their faith, for their relationship with God. And so for a while I thought maybe that was it. But I kind of knew that it wasn't, because again, it wasn't what I could see myself doing, like in the long run. And then one day, it was like the first preach of the new year. This must have been, I don't want to get my dates wrong, so I won't say anything. 4 years ago. 5 years ago. It was like 6 months into this period of what is going on, and realising that God was saying something to me, and exploring what that might be. And in the first preach of the new year, the pastor was doing a talk about like, are you going to step out this year into what God wants you to do? And I was like, I don't know, am I? And then he had this big, the next slide came on, and it was this big massive blue screen that said talent, like classic Britain's Got Talent style with the star for the A. And it hit me that it was singing, because that is such that picture is just indicative of singing and all these like singing shows. So that was when I realised, and I was terrified, because I never thought I was good enough.
But I tell you what was awesome about that is like, and being a preacher myself, is you said like that he was preaching to you, right, speaking to you. When you're speaking to a congregation, but you're in there, and then that message, that particular message is for you, and just to go, boom, it's there. For me, that's phenomenal how God works in that way, that you go to church not expecting anything, and you come out going, I know what I'm going to do.
My life has just been transformed. Yeah, it was. So what was cool, I need to just carry on because what was cool, sorry.
No, you carry on.
I will just keep going. You're going to like beg me to stop talking.
It's my channel.
That's what you mean. So literally at the end of the sermon, I think it'd been profound for quite a few people. And a guy walked up at the front and just said, he said, I feel that there are a couple of people here today who've been particularly moved by this, and God's speaking to you about your direction of life and like what you need to be doing. And I was like, yeah. And he said, can you do me a favour and can we just meet here in the church this evening at 7 p.m? I don't know how many people are going to turn up, if we'll have like 30 or no one.
Oh, wow.
Just come and we'll just chat and pray about it. So me and one other guy turned up and just had like personal prayer, and that was the moment that I kind of accepted the mission to sing. I was terrified, did not feel good enough in any way, obviously compared myself to famous singers who are flipping amazing and like not me.
Did you sing before, quickly? Have you ever sung before, or is this something that was like new?
I must have sung before, yeah.
But not like...
I've been singing in church.
Okay.
So low key, singing in the shower, singing in church.
Yeah.
I'd been writing songs since I was a kid, just because that's part of who I am. Like I just write stuff. I hadn't ever done anything with that.
Right. Okay.
It was always been private, really.
So this was the like the moment where
it was the like, catalyst. Yeah, this was the moment. So I know it was flipping terrifying. So I was like, I've just decided that my life's going to change. And also, then you have this whole wrestling with like, what does that look like? Am I supposed to be making money? Am I supposed to be singing to kids in school? Am I supposed to be a singing teacher? Am I supposed to be writing songs and releasing them like a pop star? What am I supposed to be a worship leader? I was leading worship at the time. I really loved doing that too. So God just said talents and passions, and I like, it's time for you to be using your talents and passions, and really hammered it home that it was singing. So God just says sing, and I had to work out what that looked like. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing though, isn't it? We speak before about you go on a direction and kind of the world says this is what you're going to do.
Yes.
But there's actually so many things that you kind of then have to discern. It's like, okay, wow, God, that's amazing. I'm going to go into the music industry. What is that?
Yeah, what is that? I literally knew
piano
nothing.
teacher.
Yeah.
Oh no, sing, or you know.
Totally.
Okay, so how did you discern this?
Okay, so I started freaking out and just taking tiny steps that I knew how to do. So I hadn't taken singing lessons before. So I started taking that seriously and going, well, if God wants me to step out with this, then this is something I need to hone and something I need to invest into. So I started taking singing lessons with a wonderful lady called Kathy in Gorsley. It's like nowhere near anyone who watches your channel because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, link below.
Oh, she'd love that.
Yeah, we'll put it up below.
You're welcome, Kathy. So I started taking singing lessons, and then these songs that I'd written, I started showing people in my life. That was terrifying. So I had to literally sit down with spiritual mentors whose musical opinion I valued, and perhaps whose worship I thought was, like on the level, and showed them, and I couldn't play anything.
It's not just showing that, it's being a songwriter, it's showing you.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, oh, this is what I kind of think.
It's my life. And whatever area it is that, if that's something that you're exploring now, whatever area it is, there will be this point where you need to be so vulnerable and accept that this is a big part of you. And whether it's, something really public or something really private, there's a part of you that needs to just be willing to be shown to the world.
Here you are, God.
Yeah.
Just help.
Yeah. It is,
isn't
so
it?
there was totally this essence of weakness and vulnerability, and I remember I still thought I was not good enough. I thought I was gonna absolutely tank. So all I did were the little things that I could do. This is the point. Showed my songs to people, and then I started recording. I had a few real amazing mentors who came alongside me, and perhaps just gave their time to record songs and said, I believe in you, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
So I recorded these songs. That was sort of step 2. Then I sent these songs to a local producer. Someone gave me a contact, and he made them into actual finished tracks with instruments and stuff, because I played nothing. It was just me and my dad on the guitar, or someone on the guitar, and then I'd go into the studio, and then I had to sing in the studio to someone who's going, that was flat, do that again. And honestly, you get so like refiner's fire, you know, you really go through it. But I'm saying all this because if you're stepping out on a journey of this, I want to encourage you that there are the times that are really hard and challenging, but they shape you, and each one will make you better. Like, if I had never bit the bullet and sung in a studio, I wouldn't have done anything else to date. I would have just, like, my journey would have stopped there, and I'm sure I would have done great things because God is so good at using people wherever they turn off his track and say no. But I wouldn't have achieved what he had planned down this route.
And you learn from those, like my worst sermons, which I want to forget, inform and make my other sermons better. My videos that don't make it on here.
Yes.
Make you better, because actually it's those ones that you go through and you kind of try and understand your gifting and how you improve, and kind of working in that sense with God about, okay, what you're calling me to, and I don't, again, sense of like an advocacy of doing this stuff, but feeling called and kind of going through that battle is actually, it's not just the good times, the bad times
are a part of it.
And those people are coming at you and going, that's flat, and you're like, you know, excuse me, you know. But actually, they're only trying to get the best out, because giving of yourself and your end products is the best that God wants out there. He wants like the best, doesn't he? And it's,
that's right.
But you have to.
Yeah, you have to do. This is it. This is the thing. There's an element of responsibility in any calling where you have to take the little step, and it's terrifying, and it's often without any money or like any proof it's going to go anywhere. But when you know that God is asking you to do something, and that could be a variety of different ways, just take the little steps. Either they won't go anywhere, and you'll know that, okay, I pushed the wrong door, this isn't the way that God wants me to do it, or they will. And in my experience, God opened doors that there's no way I could have opened myself. When all I did was the little thing, the singing lesson, the recording, I then sent my songs to radios once they'd been recorded. This was like demo standard recording, so in recording there's like demo, and then there's like a little bit better, and then there's a little bit better, and then each one is like £1,000 more, and I had no money, so just people being really kind made it happen, essentially. And so I was sending like this level to radio, and it got accepted and it got played, and it doesn't make sense, and it's not because I was talented particularly, it's because God wanted it to happen, and you can't stand in the way of God if there's something that's going to happen. And if he wants to use you, he's going to use you. Like, that's something you have to kind of,
but that's a confirmation, isn't it? That's the kind of like, actually, if you had the polished, you know, you raise the money, or you got this polished thing, and you go to radio and they accept it, you're like, well, I was kind of expecting that. But this is like you going,
you know that it's God.
Oh, so you wanted me to do this.
Did you actually hear the song?
I thought you just was just like kind of just saying, but oh no, so now you need to, you want me to go and do this properly then, full time. So
exactly.
And so where did that go then with the songs?
So the songs went to UCB Radio, which is the National Christian Radio. I think they're brilliant. Please check them out. They will just really inspire you in your faith.
There's another link below.
There's going to be another link. I'll do this.
We're not on commission. We're not on commission.
If anyone wants, by the way, to sponsor us, we can do this all day. Heinz, we can just have some baked beans here. Like, are you interested? So I don't know where that came from. Anyways,
over your head.
when God brings Heinz, God brings Heinz.
Heinz was Christian.
Really?
I think he was Christian. No, I think he was.
Do you know I made a song about? Total like just break, but I made a song about.
It's gonna go in.
Heinz spaghetti hoops in tomato sauce 57 varieties. Okay. Gonna regret that for the rest of my career.
When you were 7.
Probably, genuinely.
I hope so.
Yeah, just reading the tin. Anyway, so that wasn't the song that I sent to UCB. I sent all my songs to UCB, and they are still played to this day. So I sent them 2 years ago, and Till I'm Blue was the first song I sent in. That is still played.
I saw a tweet yesterday.
They played it yesterday, and they continue to do, and it's just such an encouragement. Least was the song I wrote a few months after that, or released a few months after that. And again, they played that for about 2 years as well, and then just more opportunities just came in, and every time I just pushed a little door. Premier Radio is another wonderful, massive Christian radio in the UK, and the awesome Loretta Andrews had me on her show. So I went down to London, which for a country bumpkin is no small ordeal.
It's big buildings.
What are these?
How
did they stand up?
I I haven't seen a sheep for like miles.
Where were the trees? No, literally, I was on a bus from like 5:30 in the morning just to get there for like a 12 o'clock interview. Anyway, I was really welcomed, and every time I pushed these doors, not every time, that's not true, God really steered it, and there were some opportunities that didn't happen, and looking back, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Certain partnerships that I think wouldn't have been helpful and things like that. But yeah, God just paved the way and made it really clear through opening and closing doors.
But that's a huge part as well, disappointments. Where you think, God is calling me here, or this is right, and it feels right, but actually it isn't.
Yeah.
And at the time, wow,
it's discouraging.
Disappointment. But actually, then you look back and go,
I'm so glad. Yeah, there was an opportunity to sing on some local guy's like pop track.
Yeah.
And it was right back at the beginning, so my skill level wasn't very good at all, because I really have got better, like from the singing lessons. One of the most exciting things is I can hear how far I've come, and it's amazing. I was offered a chance to sing on it. I sent him a demo like vocal. It wasn't very good, and he came back and he was like, I'm really sorry, that's not what we're looking for. Looking back, the song was about a one night stand. Like, that's not me. And like, it wouldn't have been authentic, it wouldn't have been helpful for anyone in their faith. And now I get to like sing in schools and tell children that Jesus has a plan for them, and it's like there's so much more in that than there would have been singing on some guy's pop track.
Yeah. No, it's huge. It's strange, isn't it, that in all the positives and how we get led by God, it's both that God uses those without us knowing, and there's a point coming, is the huge trust in that. That you're called to do what you call, but it's not like, oh, April, here's £1 million. You go do it. No. It's actually just
it's step at a time, stepping stones.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I would say, is that it's stepping stones. You don't get any one lump that confirms it's.
But it's those stepping stones, I suppose, for you as well, is that's what builds you, and that's what sustains you. Okay, so what's one of the biggest stepping stones you couldn't have done without, or they're really defined, whether it be the
absolutely UCB. Absolutely, having airplay and radio, that's reached more people than I could ever have known. It's crazy. And I even had messages from one lady who said, and I shared my testimony as a result of that sort of relationship. I was invited to share my testimony with them on the radio, and it just was, you know, when it just comes across really well and you're like, that was really powerful. It was one of those moments, and I just felt really humbled and excited that God had decided to use that. It was awesome, Dan. Like, it's a national radio. And I got a message from a lady I hadn't met, who said she had the radio on, and her son heard it. And as a result, they had a conversation about God, where he just asked her, like, he was, I think, quite young, like 7, and they just had this wonderful chat, and she said, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to my son. And it was like, what? How? Like, again, this isn't me. These are doors that God's opened, and it's amazing. So I think radio is a really big one. Another one has been finances, because in order to step out and do more and have time to go recording and have time to sit down and write songs and show people and whatever, I had to cut down my days at work at this desk job I was really enjoying. So in the right time, which God made clear, because there was a time of waiting, and it felt like a seed germinating, where I wasn't actually, like, God had sowed the seed and I was getting really ready to leave now and work on it, and actually the time was to wait. But the time did come to move out, and when that happened, we didn't know where the money was going to come from, because this doesn't make money. It just about covers its own costs, if that, because recording is so expensive and things like that. But suddenly Nathan and I, it's my husband, had enough money in the bank that it was actually like more money in the bank than if I was working, and it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Again, it was just God being amazing and providing gifts from people, or providing a pay rise for Nathan, and like things that we could not have known or foreseen, that God just came in behind and said, yeah, this is the way, walk in it.
So how is God through this? Because there's a lot of practicality in that, which is great, but like a personal spirituality. How are you growing as a Christian through that in your faith, and how does God continue to speak to you to affirm you in what you're doing, or to guide you on the right path, that you're going, actually is because you're still discerning, aren't you, all the way through?
All the time. That's true.
So how does God speak to you?
Okay, I think truthfully, it can be a distraction. Ministry can be a distraction from God. And often I don't have time to like listen to God or have my Bible time and things like that. Like that, and that it upsets me when that happens, because it's like God's given me so much, given me such opportunity and such a platform. Who, like, how dare I not give him my time of day? Like, it's the least I can do. So sometimes it actually is a distraction, and in all the busyness and all the stuff that needs to happen, God gets squashed out. So often there's times when you don't hear from him and you're like, why aren't I hearing from him? And you're like, oh yeah, because I haven't actually been listening to him for ages. So there's a lot of that.
I don't do that.
Yeah, no, he's super holy.
I'm a very good Christian. I'm always reading I read it earlier.
So for you super Christians, Dan is your inspiration. For anyone else, just to let you know, you're probably not the only person.
I might be lying.
Vickers don't do that either.
No, we don't. So carry on. Digging holes.
So sometimes I didn't really hear from God about it, but the amazing thing about God is that even when you mess up and you don't do your side of the bargain, he still comes through for you. There's this wonderful thing called grace, which means that you don't get what you deserve, you get what he just wants to give, and he happens to be awesome. So even then, God was still sending opportunities, and even when I'm sat on the sofa poorly for 4 days and I haven't done anything, God still sends encouragements and tells me that people are listening, people are being moved, and this is the right ministry for me. And so I think even when you don't try, like, God just does it. You don't have to worry. It just, like, the way is just made clear. Okay, here's an example. Sometimes you follow the money. So I was praying about what I should do if I should take on management. And this is quite recently, and God provided people to come forward and provide the money for that, because it's quite an expensive, like, ongoing cost. So if you know what I mean by following the money, it's like you ask about God, he provides, and you go, well, then that's clearly him giving me direction. And there was times when I've crowdfunded, which has been incredible, and I've met people through that, and I've seen direction in that, and then God provided out of those things, he provides future opportunities. So like after the Journey On music video, which had like 20,000 views online and went, again, like 150 shares on Facebook or something, which is more than I ever got. Like, it was ridiculous. And I made relationships from that and opportunities from that. That is like God just continues to lead the way. And as a result of that video, if it wasn't for that video, the schools in my local area wouldn't have found out about me and the work I was doing in Ross, and wouldn't have invited me. And 4 schools invited me the month after the Journey On launch to go into their schools and tell kids about Jesus and sing for them and talk about talents and passions and like what they're meant to do in their life, and the fact that everyone is different and unique and has a purpose. So like, yeah, he just does it. You know, you don't have to worry about it.
But it's all about as well, listening. This isn't about, like, I suppose in a lot of music industry in the secular world, it's about receiving. And I get fans, I get money, and I get adoration. What you're talking about is giving back. Is like this song that gets played and people listen to it, a conversation between a mum and a 7-year-old about going in schools and talk about Jesus with them. Is actually your ministry. This has enabled you actually to create a huge ministry of giving back without you sitting here going, I'm a recording artist, oh, look at me, I've just made a video. You know, it's like, actually, this has enabled me to go and do this. Whereas other people going, you know, look at my videos. You know, it's a real countercultural way of doing it. Maybe you don't see it because you're living it. You know, that's what I do.
That's cool.
But you're the whole thing that you're speaking about is actually giving back, and this is what God calls us to do, isn't it? You do something and you toil in and you go through everything, and he holds you through that. But actually, it's all about kingdom. It is big, changing lives in ways that you never know as well.
What's the point of me going down in history or being famous if at the end of people's lives they didn't know about Jesus? And then they die and nothing happens, and I die and nothing happens. What on earth was the point of that? What a lot of energy wasted. Like, I might as well, if I've got an opportunity, I might as well do it for him. Especially as he flipping did it all. Like, he's done, you can see he's done all the work along the way. I've just showed up.
but that's the thing, isn't it? It's, in our church at the moment, we've got this thing, in any church, invite someone and God will do the rest. You know, it's like, just sing.
Yes, exactly.
Use the gift that I've given you. Develop it. We work together and all these things. Just do it. And I do the rest.
Exactly. Completely. That's it.
And we're like, oh no.
We don't.
Well, I got to do that, and I got to do that. And it's like, I asked you to sing, or I asked you to preach, or I asked you to do this. I'll do the rest.
Correct.
I need you just to do what you're doing and enable that and be with you, and my Holy Spirit will just...
He'll worry about what happens after.
And I'll do all the rest, and we keep going. No, we just... But it's really nice to hear the stuff you're saying, because it's all about giving back, it's all about really trusting the God, it's about moving forward, and there's nothing about, I'm going to be the greatest Christian singer, I want to be
I'm not going to be the greatest Christian singer, but God didn't ask me to be the greatest Christian singer.
But there's something about that as well, isn't it? It's like, we're in a world where we're going, when you become a singer or recording artist, you have to be number one, or you have to be liked, and actually sit here and go, no, actually, I might be just in my locality, and
exactly.
But actually, I will have more of an impact locally, because I'll be better known locally than
exactly.
And someone else is called globally. So I had to pause because we talk. We ran out of video on the memory card, so we're back.
It's that Heinz video that did it.
It was Heinz song. Classic. I would really laugh if that's the only thing you got known about. If God's like, hey, guess what, April? I got a sense of humour. All the songs, and it's the Heinz song.
Amazing.
And you might get a Heinz contract.
Make a gif out of it. Come on, Heinz. Let's be friends.
God, you could use that as the way to give the money to get to the next studio.
Yes, Heinz relationship.
And I do think he was a Christian, but
empire built on beans.
Or you might get like a whole delivery one day of like a year's supply of baked beans.
Amazing.
Do you like baked beans? That much?
Yeah.
That much. 6 months. So, calling in people who might be watching it, trying to understand their calling. We're all called in different ways. I was called into ministry by a real compelling, kind of like it felt like a magnet, just saying, drawing me and saying, this is what you're doing. I was called to YouTube through a conversation and someone saying, you should do this, in a sense, in different ways. But what about you and music and discerning and those things? What would you recommend?
What I recommend? So, well, what I suggest is, if you don't know your calling, because I think it's different if you know and if you have that drawing, or if like me, you were brought to it by like words and things like stepping stones or breadcrumbs. But if you don't know, and perhaps it's been years and you're frustrated thinking, like, what am I supposed to be doing? I have no idea. There's 3 questions that I love to share. I do this in schools, so it's really easy. And it just might help you to look at it from a different perspective, rather than beating yourself up and going, I'm not good at anything. It just takes you away from that and starts again. And one is, what makes you happy? So it doesn't need to be like particularly deep and impacting or religious. It can just be, like my sister said, baking. Like, baking just makes her happy. Cool. So we're not necessarily thinking about like big life things, just what makes you happy. Going for walks, seeing friends, having coffee, walking your dog, spending time with the family, perhaps writing, perhaps something creative like painting and writing and things like that. Perhaps Excel spreadsheets and getting better at that kind of stuff. Like, what makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing? So just can I just encourage you actually to take a second and really think about this? Maybe just make a list, like, what's stopping you? Do you have 5 minutes? Just get a piece of paper and just jot down some stuff that makes you happy. Second question is, what do you want to get better at? So for me that's singing, used for YouTube and things like that. And there were many other things. So I think I'd also like to get much better at my job that I do in the day. And like, there are loads of things you could do. So again, spreadsheets might be one. Get into the computer and how to use it. Maybe, I can't think of anything. Driving, if you don't know how to drive yet, you might want to learn how to drive. So there'll be things again here that kind of point to stuff that you want to do. And also, sneaky fact, but pause the video if you haven't made your list yet, because make your list first and then I'm going to tell you this. Chances are the thing that you want to get good at, you're already pretty good at. And the fact that you have the drive to want to get better is a symptom of already being good at it. So surprise, you're already good at that thing. And then the final question is, what are you passionate about? So what could you talk about for half an hour without stopping and having to pause the video at the end because you just went on about it? Like, is there anything that you could just go off on one about and you always just get lost in? And talking, for me, I think apparently is one. singing is definitely one like that for me. And also Jesus, I'm really passionate about talking about Jesus.
Do you know what my and I get this in the videos, people have commented, they say your hands go.
Oh yeah.
I get passionate if you watch my videos, and it's not just that, it's the way you are.
Yeah.
So it's like other people, I think that I'm just talking, and you know, but actually I'm getting passionate.
Wow.
And people see that change.
Yeah.
People go, wow, you know when you're talking about that, you're just energized, and your body changes. So if I'm talking about sport with you, you would be like, yeah. But if we talk about singing, you become like a bit more energized and just, oh yeah,
that's a really good one. Yeah.
And actually, it's maybe you don't know because you are just so in it.
Yeah.
And you're so passionate about it, it's just becoming a kind of normal thing.
Yes.
And then other people will say, you know what?
Interesting.
I love the way you are when you speak about cars or speak about running or speak, you know, because you're just so passionate, and you're like, oh.
That's great.
Because your greatest ability it's probably such the greatest ability that it's so normal.
Yeah, and you don't realise
it.
So true.
Yeah.
The word you just used then was energized.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like, what makes you energized?
Yeah.
That's a really good way of putting it. If the word passionate scares you.
Yeah, because it's when I got called into ministry, I knew when I was discerning that's it. There's nothing else I could do. I was just like, my wife was like, "You sure? What if we won the lottery and we got like £2 million?" I was like, "I'll still do this because there's nothing else I can do. In a sense, my life is over. This is what I'm going to do, not even knowing what it was."
Yeah.
And I just had this drive and passion.
Yeah.
I'm realising it now, many years later, because it's going back to that thing. You don't get it all at the start.
Yeah.
It's only as you develop. But it's like, what's on your heart that you would want to do, or you just think, if I had the opportunity, I don't care if I won the lottery, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's like you say, baking.
Yes, it can be so simple. Exactly.
Because like people in need, or people who are like just a baby, or people in a hospital. For someone to take around a meal, and to say, look, we've heard this, and here's a meal. Now, if I cooked it, it would be
that's not your calling.
Thank you very much, that's very kind. But it's someone else, and they kind of really enjoy it, and it's made with love as well, and truly wanting to help people in a genuine heart. That's what changes. But people like the trouble is doing like YouTube or singing, they think, oh, that's.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but these public things, and you think that's it and that's what you have to be, but it's not true. And I have a really inspirational friend who bakes and is amazing. Like, she has such a gift at it, and she says that there's not much that you can't talk about when you've got a piece of cake in your hand, and so she uses it as an opportunity to talk about Jesus. Can we put a link for her as well? So this is Steph. She's amazing. Buy her cakes.
My hands.
just do this all the time. So she's brilliant. It might not be particularly glamorous.
We've got to do that one as well. We haven't done that. That's when we link a video. So if you want to see April's video, which one do you want?
Journey on.
Journey on, just over here.
It's time to journey on.
And then come back.
Go and subscribe to both our channels.
Go to April's channel. Come back to mine. Go to hers.
Just to round this bit off. So you just touched on it already. It doesn't need to be anything glamorous or particularly public facing. But the point of all these questions is just to show you what makes you, and the fact that it doesn't need to be massive, but spend time, make time to put these things in your life. And if your job denies you time or fun or enjoyment to do any of this stuff, maybe you're not in the right line of work, and you need to think about something that would allow you the chance to do these things, even if just in some small way they make you feel happier. Because when you feel that happiness and that fulfillment of just having time in life to do what you want to do, not just what you should do, I think it opens up opportunity for God to use these skills and allow them to grow, and that's when you start to find out what it is that God has for you.
And hearing that, one thing is understand that God's uses an upside down world, that even the small things are the biggest things. You know, I always say when I'm in church and preaching and people go, oh, that was good, or what, it really touched my life, that I know just as much that the person serving coffee and having a conversation will have a bigger impact on someone else. And it's not always about the big things, it's about the small things, and just understanding that when vulnerability, and I bet you're calling me to do this. It seems really strange that you're calling me to do something that's just so obscure and kind of countercultural, that is so big, because that's what God's using all of us in our different ways. And there's a vulnerability to go, or what you want me to draw back, because there's actually this is a conversation I have a lot. One day God might say, that's it, YouTube stop.
Yes.
He might say to you, April,
that season's ended.
You've done that.
Yes.
What I want you to go do now, I want you to go into go back to your office job.
Yeah.
And you're like, but I really enjoy and this is trappings, and I really enjoyed the fame, I really enjoyed the comments, I really enjoyed helping people, and God's going, no, you had your time, and it's a time to go, and
it's someone else's time now. I'm going to call someone else up, and for them to have a light shone on, you need to step back.
And there's a huge vulnerability. It's like, really, I've got to step back from this, and I've got to leave, because there are the trappings, aren't there, in this, and but it's being open to God's calling and His will rather than your will as well. And
that's true. Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, it's true.
See if we're still doing this in. So this would be on YouTube, like by the time we die, I swear. So what you can do, if you do, say 2080, and you catch this video, go back, find us on Wikipedia. If we ever make it onto Wikipedia, we can I'll make a page.
I'll make a page tonight.
And see what we did, because that'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Ooh. That suddenly we're not there. Suddenly my videos stop in 2028, and that's it. I find one saying, right, God's called me to...
like a time capsule. Dun, dun, dun.
And then we'll never know, because we're not there.
Back to the future moment.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
If that actually happens. It might not. April might be one of the biggest Christian singers in the UK. She might be working at Costa.
I might work in at Costa.
Yeah. So
might go to the moon or something. Change of direction.
But that's the thing, isn't it? That the honouring of what God's calling you to do, no matter what it is
it's a challenge.
Huge in that. Yeah. How do you we weren't going to come into London, we're not.
That's cool.
Because we got a few more minutes. How do you honour that? How do you honour that calling and be faithful to it in exploring what God's calling you to do? Holding on what we just spoke about. And you're called to do this, you're called to write songs, you're called to do many things, you're called to minister in schools. But how do you hold on to, this is what I'm supposed to be called to do now?
That's a hard one, because it is what it is that. The whole thing is born of that. And it's all, every day, it's like a grateful, I can't believe this is happening moment where, like I've said before, there's no way that I could have imagined it into being. There's no way that I could have manifested this. This is a provision of God, and it is His work, and it is going to take the shape He wants it to take. It doesn't matter what I do, it's going to go the way that He has it planned to. That's an interesting theological debate. Does it or not? Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Because what I do does have impact on action. Anyway, just going off on one.
The scary thing is, it might not, as we were speaking before downstairs, because we had a lovely cup of coffee, is that it might not be in your lifetime. Yeah. And that's a hard thing, that you toil for the next 50 years doing what you do, and then you die, and then you're like the biggest UK Christian recording artist ever seen. Wow. And it's not in your lifetime because it wasn't meant to be at that time. God wanted to use it after. Yeah. That you work and work and work.
Do you know what's exciting, Dan? Is you say that, and I literally don't care.
I know.
I know. Getting to that point is flipping amazing, because there would have been a time that's what I wanted. Yeah. And there would have been a time that's what I was terrified of. Yeah. And now I'm like, that's what He wants. Otherwise, I'll keep I went into a prison the other day. It's flipping amazing. My heart was so full, and it's like that is all. If that was the greatest point in my career, I'm happy.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to that upside down. As Christians, actually, we just, the serving is the amazing part, or but actually doing it, or sitting up in your attic just chatting about this is like 3 people might watch. But actually, it'd be the right 3 people. Yeah. And it's honouring to God, and it's just upside down, and this whole expectation of is not. But yet you're in an industry that is completely opposite. Yeah. If you on the opposite side, you'll be like
countercultural.
Yeah. How do we do this? With the management, we got to go here. You'll be gigging like mad, going around everywhere. You'll be doing this, and you have to do that, and merchandise, and but actually you're just going, I want to go into a women's prison.
Yeah. I don't care about any of that. Take me. Yeah.
No, so, where can we go? So much.
That's interesting, isn't it?
So where do you go from here?
What do you mean?
Where's God calling you? Where do you feel that? Is there an album? Is there?
Yes, I feel very.
Do you feel like you've got so many albums in you?
No.
Okay, that's.
So do you know? I actually
People say that.
I don't relate to like the whole musician thing. And if I just describe myself in a press release or something as a musician, I find it really hard because like most musicians, like you say, like they're one with the music and it just comes out of them. And for me, like. I'm kind of one of those anal weird people who likes like databases and charts and filofaxes and funny looking pens and like I'm not one with the music and I love to sing and I love to write, but I love the maths of songwriting and I love when if there is a misplaced emphasis in one of my songs, it will not go to studio. I will sit down and spend hours until the wording is exactly right and the rhyming is exactly right.
Okay, yeah.
It matters to me in a weird way.
What's you start speaking French, so what? What's a misplaced emphasis?
Like if I said, let me think of something. Elephant. It's not elephant. So if there was a tune that wanted me to place the emphasis on elephant, I would find that totally unacceptable.
No, that's good because we spoke before that I've got little music ability and you've got no interest in sports. So.
That's right. It's like bamboozled.
We have to find common ground in places. So how does that then play out? Because that's a very different way.
So what's interesting is that my songs have gone anywhere at all because I'm nothing like what I expect a musician to be like or a songwriter to be like, and I don't enjoy like necessarily going into pubs and sharing my songs with people and going, oh great, I just shared my songs. That doesn't matter to me. So it's really interesting. Like it's interesting that you can be so different. I feel very different in an industry to what I expect the norm to be. And I definitely feel God has placed an album on my heart this year. Because like me and a load of other songwriters I've been working with over the last few years, and even a new songwriter who I started working with, which is really exciting, we've all started writing songs about mountains.
Okay.
It's weird. Same time, same theme, without really like conversing. One of them I co-wrote on and the theme mountain just came out. And it's been amazing and it has this awesome motivational feel about like whatever mountain you're facing, whatever that looks like, mental health, whatever, jobs, we all have to overcome issues, don't we? That God can not only help you and be with you, but he moves mountains. He'll literally just move them. And so I've got a testimony of that. Some other of the songwriters have got a testimony about that. And it's like God is bringing this big theme out. Yeah. And I haven't even had to write many of the songs, so that's helpful.
Just do it.
No,
but that's again God's upside down world.
That's it.
I'm just wondering, like, if there's like loads of mathematicians who just like love your music because it's just like. So
Dave Wheeler, who co-wrote Journey On and is a living legend, he's like, he must be in his 70s. Sorry, Dave, if you're not. You can't understand.
Edit.
He's been songwriting for 55 years.
Hello, April.
Like we just put that bit in instead.
60. 70. 80.
He's been songwriting for 55 years.
Okay.
He must be in his 70s.
It depends if he started at 5.
Dave Wheeler, who's been songwriting for 55 years, co-wrote Journey On, and he was a maths teacher, and he is super mathematical, and that's how he writes music. He has a much deeper like theoretical knowledge of music than I do.
Yeah.
But I have literally none, so that's easy. But he writes really mathematically, so maybe.
The math, the people out there kind of relate to it because of that. So yeah, again, it would be over me because I have no
interest in music. Understand.
I like music.
Taste in music.
Yeah, I'm a more of a.
Like my album.
I'm a, what do you call it? I love you. I've listened to it on the way over the car.
I know, that's so lovely.
On Spotify.
Doing your research.
So you're all 0.014.
Cheers, man. Spend that 1p wisely.
Is that you've lost me.
So I'm so sorry. I can't even help you.
I could go back on the video and then put a little caption underneath. But so when would is this happening this year?
I feel like it is going to happen this year. There's no evidence financially of it happening this year, but it definitely feels to me that this is something that's really ready to be born.
Okay.
Because there's literally already like 10 tracks that have happened. It's crazy.
That are written?
Yeah, that are written. Okay. Half of which have already been recorded.
I saw you the other day on Twitter.
The internet.
the internet. I was just trying to find so many different words. You're not on Instagram?
Yes.
Might be Instagram. Recording a song.
Yes.
The other day.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yes, mountains. One More Mountain. Literally called One More Mountain.
When's that coming out?
That's a great question. I should know that. Next month?
Next month. You're so into this kind of the whole use this in celebrity thing, aren't you?
Strategy is not my forte.
Next month.
Honestly not.
And how old's 55?
Yeah. I can't believe I just said he was 70 something. What if he's not? He's got to be.
Your great friend?
Yeah. My really close friend. He knows that I love him. Dave Wheeler is the best.
He's in the video as well, driving the car.
He does a
picture
cameo.
At the end.
Correct.
Yeah, I did my research.
You literally did. I'm so impressed.
Yeah. And just to say, because we're going to run out of time, if you want to see April's video where she talks about her answered prayer up here, it's a bit more across.
Oh really?
It's up there. From the Wall of Acts Prayer, which is amazing, an amazing video actually, real powerful testimony. You can watch that, or we might record another one. I bet we're going to talk about it at some point anyway. So she'll be back on the channel.
Amazing. Thanks.
So we're going to finish up there. Thank you for all your chatting.
It's been amazing. Thank you for having me.
It's really cool. Be back on again, and we'll do some more stuff. Where we just talk for a long time and
totally lose our direction and
can,
have to stop the camera and start.
People can listen. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I'm running out of. This is all the technology you see. So we're going to say goodbye. And
Product placement. See, you can have another what is it? Sony?
No, it's S8 Galaxy.
Galaxy. Give us some money, yeah.
Link below. Thank you for watching. If you've got any comments or any encouragement, put the in the comments below. Like the video. If you want to share this to anybody, just come down. Here's a share button, which would be amazing. Get this out, because this really is an encouragement. And what we really want to do is talk about these Christian things, talk about our calling, especially April's, in the music industry, and actually probably you've come on thinking one thing and left with another, because it's just we've just flipped it all around, and she doesn't even know when the signal's going to come out.
It's crazy.
Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you. I will see you next time. We'll see you at another point. Bye.
Bye.